the long view.
One of the things that we're really excited about as collaborators is that we've just secured £900 million of investment for a Barts Life Sciences precinct, which is incredible because if you think about the Whitechapel area and the proximity to the city, unfortunately over time, a lot of the investment has kind of jumped right over Whitechapel and landed at Canary Wharf, whereas this Barts Life Sciences precinct is £900 million of investment, which will be commercial investment, charity funding, funding from the universities, from the hospitals, and it's a real opportunity for philanthropy actually to play a role in being there at the very beginning to kind of bring this ecosystem to life.
What are the biggest challenges organisations are facing now?
I think some of the biggest challenges that organisations are facing right now is that the geopolitical landscape is very complicated, very fragile, and we see that at St Barts and Barts Charity. We're focused on the East London geography, which is one of the most diverse places in the UK, but also it means that we have actually an incredible community of people. So actually when we're thinking about this global fragility, it's also having local impact here in East London. And so I think when we think about the complexity of geopolitics and how that's impacting people's lives around the world and here within our own communities, there's a very important role that philanthropy can play in that, in terms of identifying these problems and supporting initiatives that governments may take longer to think about supporting, so it can be right at the forefront of innovation and systems change across some of these very complex global issues.
Which idea for driving systemic change would benefit most from philanthropic support?
Systems change is not something that happens overnight, it's something that happens over decades. And actually philanthropic families who have had wealth over generations have an opportunity to think about the transfer of that wealth and how they embed impact into that generational wealth transfer in order to solve some of the greatest issues of our time, thinking about it from potentially a more long-term view. Things are changing so rapidly. We've seen from a geopolitical perspective, philanthropists actually have the opportunity to kind of look longer term, look at how they can bring collaborations together. And I think especially in healthcare, which obviously is where we're focused at Barts, it's becoming more and more complex. The NHS is becoming more and more overwhelmed. We have an aging population. We have so much demand and need that I think that is an area that philanthropists in the UK could play a really important role.
What is the one change you would most like to see in philanthropy over the next 10 years?
So looking ahead, thinking about the changes I would like to see in philanthropy over the next 10 years is something I've actually spent the last 18 months thinking very deeply about. I've just completed an executive MBA at the University of Cambridge, and my research topic is actually looking at high net worth individuals, ultra high net worth individuals, and how they manage their investment portfolios for impact and whether that aligns with their philanthropic thesis. And what I've found through that study is that the families and entities that do this most successfully are the ones that have really clear governance systems in place, and that governance supports from the kind of now generation of philanthropists, which we've talked a lot about at the conference today, is those, children and grandchildren that are thinking about how they get involved in philanthropy today, all the way to, the next generation beyond them.
What could philanthropists do better to pass their values to future generations?
The things that I've seen that are most successful is really about very clear governance. Governance in how the investments are managed, but also governance of values, education. Families that do this incredibly successful have a family charter which describes their values and describes, it's something that they come up with together, they agree to, they pass down, they acknowledge. Other families have education programs where they bring family members into the family business, and those values are so deeply ingrained from the offset through that program of education, learning, experience, that then the likelihood of that being passed through is much higher.